Hi there, and welcome to the Age and Grace podcast, where today we've got a very deep topic today. I want you to think about an area of your life where you haven't made the change that you know you need to make. Whether that's finally starting that workout routine that you've been putting off for ages, whether that's actually focusing on your nutrition and making those changes, or whether that's just getting up off the couch and actually going for a walk around your neighborhood. What is it in your life that you need to do but haven't done yet? Today we're going to be talking about it. Hi there, my name is Andrew Blakey, the host of the Age and Grace podcast, where today we're going to be going through a couple of different exercises that I use with some of my own clients when I feel like there's a roadblock or something standing in their way. We all have different things that we want to accomplish, and sometimes we really struggle to make those changes. And for a lot of times, it's not just because we're lazy. A lot of people, they just say, oh, I'm just lazy. But for a lot of times, it's much more psychological. And for many times, there's a barrier or a blockade or something that is keeping us from making that change. And after working with hundreds of different clients, I've gotten very good at seeing when there's a blockade. And today we're going to be going over a couple different questions that I ask my clients in a series that helps them to both find that blockade and hopefully overcome it. Now, for a lot of people, they live their life full of intention, full of good intentions, but that doesn't always relate and that doesn't always translate into making those changes. And for a lot of times, we know what we need to do. We know what we need to do in order to accomplish a certain goal. Maybe that goal for you is getting an extra workout in a week. Maybe it is truly optimizing your nutrition, right? Whatever it is, you know what it is that you need to get done. But for some reason, there's something holding you back. There's something keeping you from doing it. And a lot of times we sit back and we just say, oh, I know I just need to do it. I just need to do it. But you haven't. You haven't done it yet. So we're going to dive deep today and we're going to get pretty intense and pretty deep on a couple different things through a couple of the different exercises I'm going to give you today to help figure out what that real reason is. I want you to imagine when it comes to your own health, first off, let's start with what is it that you truly want to accomplish? We're not going to spend a lot of time on this, but just think about that in your head. What is it that you want to accomplish? Is it you want to lose some weight around the belly? Is it you want to get rid of kind of some of that, a little bit of that flab on the back of your arms? Is it you want to build bigger biceps? You want to have a flatter stomach? What is it? What is it that you want to accomplish? And now that you've got that in your head, I want you to fast forward and I want you to think about the future version of yourself that has that. What does that person look like? Close your eyes, and I really want you to take this exercise seriously. I want you to think about this because this is where we're building off of each one of these questions. So what does that person look like? Do they have those toned arms? Do they have those toned legs? What is it that they're able to do that you can't right now? Are they able to go running without knee problems? Are they able to play with their grandkids? Are they able to go skate and go play pickup hockey with the guys out at the rink? Are they able to go do gardening and not have to take a break because their knees are hurting? And now what I want you to think about is what does that person do that you currently don't? Okay, and I want you to make a list. Make a list of 10 things that that person does that you currently aren't. Because I promise you, that person that you're hoping to become, that stronger, healthier version of yourself, they didn't get there by doing the same things that you're doing today. They've made changes. Maybe that means that they are now working out 2-3 times a week. Are they working out 4 times a week? What is it that they're doing with their nutrition? Are they the kind of person who, when they go out for lunch, they order a certain type of food? Do they avoid a certain type of food maybe? When they go out for dinner, what does that dinner look like? Right? These are all things that you need to consider and all things that you can be adding to that bulleted list. Because I want you to make a list of 10 different things that they're currently doing in their life. And once you've got that bulleted list, and you can pause this if you'd like, once you've got that bulleted list, I want you to look at those and I want you to give yourself a score out of 10. How many of those are you currently doing? Are you doing 1? Are you doing 3? Are you doing none of them? How many are you doing? And whatever that score is, how can you begin to implement more of those into your life? Does that mean that you need to add an extra workout to your routine? Does that mean that you need to change your eating? What is it that you can add to your current routine to more closely resemble that person's? Because that version of yourself that you pictured, again, they're not doing the same things that you are now, right? Otherwise, you would already be like that person. This applies for many different areas of our life. But again, we're going to keep this health related. So we're really going to focusing on that future version of ourselves when it comes to our health. We know what it is that we need to do. We all know the things that are healthy. You know what you need to be eating. You know what things are good for you versus what aren't. But for many times, there's something that is holding us back. And for a lot of times, it's actually fear. And I want you to explain on that a little bit. And I want to dive into that a little bit. A lot of times, fear keeps us from truly committing to ourselves. And when you really do want to become the healthiest, happiest version of yourself, it does require a commitment to yourself. And the scary part about that is that if you commit to yourself and you decide that you're going to make these changes and the outcome doesn't equal what you expected, then you're going to feel like you failed, right? And for a lot of time, it's that fear of failure that's actually holding us back. And the tough part about that is that by making even any of these small changes from that bulleted list that we created, it's going to get us closer to that person. But right now, we're not doing any of those, or very, very few number of those, because right now we can fall back on well, I'm not that person because I'm just not doing these things yet, right? Once I do those things, I'll be able to become that person, right? And so we're using that as an excuse to keep us from making change. And that's a very, very dangerous place to live. And the reason being is because we're not so out of shape or unhealthy where it's dangerous, right? So it's okay living there, right? It's not in a worse enough spot that causes us to make change. And there was actually a story that I heard a little while ago, and it was talking about how being just okay is sometimes the most dangerous spot to be at because we can coast there. We can spend years there. Whereas if something very, very bad happened to us, it causes us to make a change overnight. And it causes us to make changes that impact our life. And knock on wood, we never want anything bad to happen to us. But a lot of times it's after something very, very negative that causes us to make the most change in our life. That really influences our life. But that being said, that's one of the hard parts about health is that for many of us, we're just coasting through life, right? We're coasting at the spot we're at. It's not that bad, right? We can coast through there, but we're never truly going to become the person that we want to become. And for a lot of us, that fear of failure, that fear of making the change and maybe not reaching it is keeping you from making any change at all. So I want you to think about that today and really, really dwell on that and really, really kind of dive deep into that. And I want to give you one last exercise you can do now that you know a couple of the different things that you want to implement, now that you've got that bulleted list, is there's one little last exercise that I like to use whenever I feel like there's something holding me back. And it's just freehand writing. That's all it is. I want you to set a timer for about 10, 15 minutes, open up a notebook, and just let your hand write. Write whatever it is that comes to mind, but don't let that hand stop writing. You're going to continuously write, even if it's gibberish, even if it's la-dee-dee, la-dee-da, la-dee, whatever. Just don't let that hand stop writing and just write whatever it is that comes to mind and then go through it after. It doesn't matter if there's spelling mistakes. It doesn't matter if there's errors in it. It doesn't matter if you repeat yourself. Just keep writing. And a lot of times, something's going to come out of there that's going to be useful for you, especially if it's targeted writing about maybe something that's blocking you or that's keeping you back or holding you back. Really, really dive into that and see what comes up for you. It's been very interesting, some of the stuff that's come up for me. So that's all I've got for you today on the Aging Grace. And again, my name is Andrew Blake, your host, and I can't wait to talk to you again next week. If you found this episode particularly useful, I would greatly appreciate it if you follow us on whatever platform you listen to, which helps us get recommended to more people just like you to help find our show. Have a great week. I'll see you next Sunday.